actually take all this time and space that our jobs and our lives and our relationships don't allow, and actually use it to do things that are not complicated, that are simple. And in that simplicity, we can fucking shine. Because then we can actually let through all of that joy and that love and that peace, and you know, be able to discern the difference between what's simple, what's complicated, and what the culture is that you want to live in, your physical body. You know, we're not living in the regular culture anymore. We're living in the culture of, we're living in the culture of our brains, you know? So it's like an ideal time to rewire and decide who we want to be and how open we want to be to the things that we actually do love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I got to take a breath. That was like, my heart feels like it's out here.
That was great. That was really great. I recorded that.
I know, I saw.
I was like, okay, I got to get this. But that's exactly it. Like, I really think just making that connection uplifts people. That's all that needs to happen. And I think letting people know that, you know, their social responsibility in this situation is to do exactly the same, to connect with people and just uplift them. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but the beauty in that too is that we're not just all here to do it the same. We're all here to like create the same outcome, but we can do it however the fuck we want, you know?
Exactly. There's so many different varieties.
Everybody, and this is the standard message that I'm pushing out with Peace Made Public and my content online is, we are all peacemakers. We were peacemakers before anybody had an opinion. We were peacemakers before they paused for a second. We were peacemakers before anybody had an opinion. We were peacemakers before anybody told us that we had to vote peace into office or pray to it. You know, like that's something that lives in us. And this is just our time. That's all I can say. This is our time, and this is our time to actually investigate how we want to express peace in our lives. You know, it's not all down, you know, and meditating or doing yoga or praying. You know, for some people it might be singing. For some people it might be writing. For some people it might be just getting on the phone. For some people it might be cooking. For some people it might be taking a walk. You know, it's not complicated. It's the things that we already know. It's just that we don't generally have the time to nurture that energy, and now we do.
So what would you say for people like among this like crisis situation? Like I have a friend who's like a server, and so she's now like out of work, and she's just, her focus right now is just anxiety driven. Like what would you have to say for all these people that don't have that positivity and they're just overwhelmed with anxiety? Like how would you suggest they move forward?
Well, let me tell you, like, that's perfectly normal. And I am not saying that I am immune to that. Like, I have my own anxieties. We just moved into a new apartment, and part of the way that we were supposed to, thinking to afford the apartment is to rent part of it out to another renter. But if we can't do that because of a travel ban, then we may have to pay a whole lot more in rent than we thought, you know? So me and my boyfriend, we are very, you know, impacted by this and stressing. But it's about where you put your focus, right? And I'm not going to tell everybody how to manage their anxiety. I feel like there are a lot of people out there who know instinctively what best works for them to manage anxiety, you know? And I'm not a medical professional, but I am a peace advocate, and I've been doing this for a while, you know? So I do have an exposure to the opposite of peace, right? Which definitely includes stress and anxiety. But what I can say is focus on what you can change now, right? So there are certain measures that we can take that will help us sort of absorb some of that anxiety and transmute it into feeling that we actually have some security, right? So that could be talking to your employer, reaching into your savings, like having gratitude that you even have savings, researching whatever, you know, like updating your resume, those kinds of basic things that can make you feel a little more prepared for when the time comes that you do need to get a new job, or you know, start rationing food or whatever the hell happens. You know, that's part of it. The other part of it is just not forgetting that outside of this anxiety is all this, there's more things to focus on that are about ease and clarity and peace than there is here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's just, for me, it's all about focus and creating a routine that will enable you to maintain that focus, because anxiety and anxiety disorders, that is not a sustainable model for life. It is not, you know, and I have a lot of empathy for those who suffer through that, but you don't have to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and for me right now, it's all about that routine. I get up in the morning and sure, I lie in bed and I think, fuck, what is today gonna hold? You know what I mean? And then I think about my dreams, and sometimes the dreams aren't exactly, you know, fun things to think about when you first wake up. But then I sort of say out loud, and when I tell you that right when you wake up, saying something positive out loud is the hardest fucking thing you can do. I mean it, you know, but I still say it, you know, and I push myself and I take a deep breath and I just say something like, today can be good. Today will be what I decide to make it, you know? And that's hard to fucking say because you don't believe it. But the more you say it, the more you believe it.
Right, exactly.
And so from there, the routine continues. I cleanse my space because I'm obsessed with plant medicine. I make an amazing cup of coffee, you know, and I do it with deliberate intention. And then I let the light in, open the drapes, and then I sit down and meditate. And the more that I've done this during this time of crisis, the more present I've been for every single thing, because I'm not rushed about moving on to the next thing. You know, there are certainly things waiting for me on my to-do list to be done, but I also have the empathy of the fucking world that is saying it's okay. You know, your deadlines are not as strict.
Right.
You know, your priorities have shifted. We understand, you know, and that to me is the gift. That to me is the gift that will keep that self-care routine and anxiety relief routine sustainable. I need to take another sip of coffee. Damn good coffee, I will tell you.
You're full of good stuff. Like that's you need to get that out there.
And hell, it's like, it's just, I feel very grateful. I feel incredibly humbled and grateful to have the energy and to be free of the fear that previously told me like what I had to share wasn't worth, you know, recording or posting online, you know? And I think that was my experience of the culture, right? Is
right.
Me and my experience filtering through the culture and saying, my voice is not good enough. You know, my voice is not strong enough or I don't look good enough to be on camera, or what I have to share is too simple, you know? All of that is such bullshit.
And that's the thing, is I think it's really powerful to just share with everybody that they can make a difference just by being present, just by being there. Because like, I mean, I think your experience is fantastic. I think you have a lot of wisdom and experience that you have. But I think even somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience, I feel like if they are at a higher vibration, they can share that with somebody else, and that spreads. That's more contagious than this virus. Like,
yeah.
So I think that's really powerful to let everybody know that they have the power to really make a difference.
And those with that energy, I think, also have a responsibility. And I don't mean that in the very like serious sense of it. I mean that in like the joyous, I have so much to live, or I have so much love to give way, you know, that responsibility. And so I mean, when I meditate, I like messages come through, you know, and I've started to ask myself during this time of quarantine, like, is this something that I need to keep sacred, or is this something that I can share, you know? And previously I would have just like considered them all sacred, you know, it's my meditation, it's my message, you know? But what this crisis has done for me is to alleviate that ego and that sense of entitlement and that sense of like limitness. I don't know what I'm trying to say. There are infinite messages coming through, and just because they're coming through me doesn't make me the unique captor of the message, you know? And so I've started to share some of the messages that came through on Instagram and on Facebook with my community.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those fears and anxieties that I had about me not being good enough, shattered, done, gone. Like, people are responding with so much love and compassion and presence, because that's what we're all experiencing. We have more time to be present. You're 100% right. It's just, what do we want to be present for? You know?
Exactly. Making that shift of focus.
Yeah. And realizing that we have a choice. I understand, like, I 100% understand when people say, respond to those memes that are like, happiness is just a choice, you know? Abraham Lincoln ruined everybody with that one line. I mean, sure, it's true. Happiness is just a choice. But for most people outside of this crisis, it's like, fuck you. If I could just choose to be happy, then I would already be happy, you know? But that's living in that culture. That's what we would say, living in you know, a culture of stress and burnout, you know?
Yeah.
But now we don't necessarily have to, you know? So the choice becomes easier. The choice to shift becomes easier, and it's like this. It's just a ripe time to start your practice now, so that it can be sustainable when this crisis is over, and it will be over. It will be over for sure. What do you think? I mean, I'm curious to hear. You just got off of a spiritual quest with this meeting.
What do I think about the crisis?
How is this resonating with you, what we're talking about?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like,
talk to me about it.
I just, like, I really feel like this is a time for us to kind of shift into a different level of connection. Yeah. I think this is a great opportunity.
What level of connection do you feel yourself reaching for? You know? Don't drop into your mind, drop into your heart. Like, where are you?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Like, I think for me personally, I definitely think coming more connected with like myself. Like, I think going through like what I've just gone through,
Yeah.
I kind of need to reconnect with myself there.
Yeah.
But on like a more like global basis, I think like you said, just the opportunity that we have with this change of like lifestyle that we all have, I think it really opens up a way for us to come closer than we were like living life, business as usual before.
Yeah.
So that way, when this crisis is over, that we actually don't go back to what it was before, but something better.